Welcome back to the Focus ST Best Turbo Selection Series. Today we're going to be talking about the Garrett GTX 3576 Gen 2. So this turbo is kind of one of them oddball turbos because it uses a 76 compressor wheel similar to the GTX 3076 Gen 2, but it has the 35 series turbine wheel similar to the 3582. This turbo is going to have more lag than the 3076 because of the larger turbine wheel, but that being said, it's also going to have a little bit more potential as well, even though it does still share the same compressor map. So here is some of the specs off Full Race. I could not get the specs off ATP's website because they didn't actually have the compressor wheel or turbine wheel specs. There is the price and the code for ATP Turbo if you want to source this. Also, you want to get the tile exhaust housing because the Garrett one isn't as compact, and this works with the G series downpipe and the manifold for like the Arc Enemy kits or the Boost Ninjas kits. Here is the compressor wheel. Exducer 7658, similar to the 3076. Has a 60 AR compressor housing. It's smaller than, say, a G35900 or a G30900 in terms of the compressor housing. So, like here, if you compare, there is a 72. It's very similar as far as the compressor wheel itself. It's got a 76 exducer, but has a 58 inducer, and this has a 62 inducer. So the G35900 is very close on the compressor wheel itself, but it's just more advanced in technology and aerodynamics. So anyways, the turbine wheel, though, is exactly the same. It's 62 and 68. On the G35, it's 68 and 62 as well. Same thing. So that's kind of interesting. They must share pretty much the same. I don't know if the aerodynamics, I think they're a little bit more advanced on the turbine wheel of the G series. I would assume so, because they're definitely more they just have a better efficiency on both ends of the turbo as far as the compressor and the turbine maps go. Here is the compressor map for the 3576. So it's going to be similar to the 3076 Gen 2. And if you compare it to, say, the G35900, you can see big difference. G series is definitely going to be more efficient, broader range, and it goes, up to like 82 pounds of air a minute, where this is still rated for 67. But that being said, this turbo is going to be great for highway driving, drag racing. It's okay for a street turbo. You'll get really good gas mileage because it doesn't spool instantly, just like the 3076. You're just going to have probably about 400 to 500 RPM difference in lag. So the 3576 is definitely going to lag more because of the turbine wheel. Here is your tile housings that you would want to run if you're using the G series style or even the CPE kit. The 63 AR and 82. I would recommend the 63 AR if you're not trying to push the turbo to the limits on the 2.0 cylinder head and 2.0 ST, like as far as the displacement goes. If you're running a 2.3 stroker and a 2.3 head, I would go with the bigger AR because it basically would spool similar to the 63 on a 2.0 if you think about it, because you gain like the 500 RPM back going to 2.3. So it's going to be a tile housing, 3,400 to 4,200 rough guess on a built engine, E85 of course. So 20 to 25 PSI. That's the range. That's with the 63 AR. With the 82, you're gonna gain about 600 to 800 more lag, so 4200 to 5000. It's gonna spool very similar to the 35900 when it comes to the 2.0 itself, so kind of very similar. The difference is the 35900 can make, like a lot more horsepower, so just keep that in mind. The supporting mods, all the bolt-ons you can throw at it. Built engine, of course. I would recommend going with the RS head for this turbo. Any 35 series turbo, I would recommend the most flow you can possible, just so it's not choking out the turbine side. That's why I did the RS head or the 2.3 head on my ST, is because when I picked the G35900, the 35 series turbine map is really nice and high flowing, and I wanted to match the flow with the RS head, and so it was a perfect match. No restriction at all. Just a great flowing setup altogether. You don't want to run a 2.0 head on a 35 series turbo because you're kind of just choking yourself out. You're not running full potential on your turbo because it's not getting all the air it needs. Also, you're going to definitely need a 4-port aux fuel kit. 65-pound injectors, 90-pound injectors. ESP kits are the way to go. They're $900 right now. They dropped the price. They were $1,050, which is still cheap. They use a radium style kit, custom lines rated for E85. That's what I run. Elliott Specialized Performance. I'll provide the link in the description. Now, you can also get a 2.3 and you'll gain, like I said, your RPM back. So just keep that in mind. The horsepower range. Essentially what I've done is added 20 wheel horsepower more on top of the 3076 Gen 2. And this is based off a built engine, E85, 4-port, all that good stuff. So, and cams as well. Stage 3 to be exact. So 520 to 560 is your efficiency range on 2.0 head. 2.3 head with a 2.0 would be 540 to 580. I'd probably add another 20 horsepower at the wheels if you ran a 2.3 stroker on top of these numbers. And then the max would be 620 to 650 range. The price for this turbo, you could probably find it cheaper, honestly, but I just put $3,000 just for the turbo alone. And you got to source your, tile or turbo smart blow-off valves. You're going to want to run the 44 or 45 sized wastegate. So you're going to want to run the Boost Ninjas kits. They're also going to be getting the RS manifold from what I gather. He's going to be doing some testing with that. So he's still doing the G3770. But highly recommend them guys. They're just starting out. But trust me, they have all the backing and all the, he's been doing the most testing of anybody out there. And who I'm talking about is Dakota Gain. He's honestly been like at the forefront of testing every single turbo out there, like way more than anybody else. That's just a true fact. Arc Enemy kits are nice. They're going to be more expensive. Probably a little bit higher quality as far as welds go, possibly. And also maybe more of a lead time, especially for the RS adapter. I had problems with the RS adapter getting that, so I had to get mine welded locally. So keep that in mind. Also, you're definitely going to want to run with the tile housing. You can run the Arc Enemy, or the manifold that you would run normally on a G series, like for the Clayton kits or something like that. So you can run that and the G series downpipe, or if you're running the CPE manifold and whatnot, you can do that as well. So you have some options. The tile housing is just way more compact, so that's why you want to run it. And also it won't rust. It has a stainless steel housing. I believe the stainless is like a 316 stainless or something. It's a really high quality, kind of like the G series housings. So yeah, this is one of them turbos that is definitely an oddball. Like I said, you don't really see it out there ran on the STs or even the RSs, but I feel like it's one of them turbos that would definitely have some potential, between the 5 and 600 wheel horsepower mark reliably, no problem at all. And it would have more lag than the 3076, but it would have more potential and definitely less back pressure, which is always good as well. So just keep that in mind. Great turbo overall, in my opinion, if you want to stay with the GTX series turbos. You know, it's great that they haven't actually discontinued these. So for any 35 series turbos, I would recommend going a big intercooler. You want to run the CVF Fab intercooler. Use code BB5 in the description. It'll save you 5% at discount, and it helps the channel with a little bit of incentive with that. So that's pretty cool. But the biggest thing is just helping you guys save money on the highest quality parts possible. So that's awesome that I can do that. Little, you know, just to help you guys a little bit. And, you know, also the CV Fab intercooler is rated for 670 to 700 wheel. So that's what it's efficient for. You don't need the CPE because that is rated for 800, but you don't need it because it's 10 pounds heavier. Honestly, the quality isn't as good as a CV Fab. I've tested them both as far as like did a review side by side, and it's a night and day difference. The CV Fab is way higher quality, and I'm not just saying that like because I have a discount code. I'm saying that because that's what I'm backing up, like just with my own eyes and my own knowledge. So I've ran the CP intercooler for years, and I just switched to the CV Fab, and when I saw them next to each other, literally is honestly I couldn't believe how cheap designed the CPE is. And you know, that's why I think a lot of people go with the Depot Racing, because it's a cheaper knockoff. But still, the CV Fab, for American made, it's the best design. They use their own custom made cores that's not sourced elsewhere, and their end tanks are custom made in-house. So the whole thing is designed in-house, so it keeps it more efficient that way. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Let me know what turbo setup that you run, and even if it isn't an ST or an RS, or you know, if it's a Mustang or whatever you have, if you have this turbo, let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you on the next one.